Broadcasting from Hollywood, California, it's Grant's Rants, Hollywood Talk.
Bethenny Frankel exits Housewives for big things in Hollywood. But who's her replacement? Arrests are made in the celebrity burglary case involving Dorit Kemsley. Taylor Swift goes up against the music business. And we question if Disney Plus is worth it. That and more with Kirsty Moore right here. Let the ranting begin. I am joined by Kirsty Moore, a writer, singer, songwriter, and from the podcast Reality TV and Me. Please welcome Kirsty. Welcome to the podcast, calling in.
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting that we're finally doing this.
Yes. Well, Kirsty, I can't thank you enough for listening to the show. I know that you enjoy the rants, and that means so much to me, as it does when other people tell me. So, first of all, thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you for your content. It's always so much fun. It's one of my favorite podcasts. And
if you haven't guessed yet by the accent, she's calling in from Australia. So it's like,
g'day, mate.
It's morning. It's a Monday morning in Australia at the time. Like when the show goes out in the States is where it's being where you're recording it right now. I mean, it's just crazy because last week I had basically a neighbor across the street. Faces by Bravo. Now, this week, we've got you a day ahead on the other side of the globe. So you never know, again, who's going to be on the rants.
We're in the future over here.
Yeah, you really are. First thing, Bethenny Frankel making big moves. I'm not even leading with she's leaving Housewives. That's just part of some of the stuff that's out there right now. But she's making really big moves. Variety had an exclusive saying that she was, leaving Real Housewives in New York. But she also has a production partnership with the big producer, Mark Burnett, and a deal with MGM TV. She plans to star and to produce women-focused, unscripted content. I mean, this is a big move, especially as Hollywood talk goes. I mean, I'm very happy for her.
I know. Look, I'm happy for her as well. I'm wondering how Bravo and Andy Cohen feel about her kind of jumping ship and joining MGM. But I mean, it's exciting. I always love, all her spin-offs, the weddings and all that kind of stuff that she produces, flipping houses. I'm excited to see what's gonna come next.
Yeah, I think she's outgrown Housewives. I'm fine with her not being on it. I think the general consensus is that this isn't a major loss. I don't view it as a major loss at all. I think the show is in fairly good shape, especially after coming off of Beverly Hills. I'll never miss an opportunity to slam that show. I think that it's fine. And, what the show will need, though, is some voice in reality, some voice who's a realist. Because there are a lot of people on that show who don't really they're 2 feet on the ground.
And Ramona's your best voice of reason. You've got issues.
Oh, God. Yeah. Well, I'm still optimistic about the show, but then she tweeted, she said, that fans speculate that she got married because she was very gracious with messages to her castmates and fans and, really appreciative. And on Friday, she said, she's the only housewife who's actually married. And of course, this got a lot of people thinking that she got married to her current boyfriend. I believe his name is Paul, a very good looking man. But this was alter a tweet. Nothing has been confirmed. And, the bottom line is her ex-husband's lawyer told the New York Post that her ex-husband, Jason, they're still legally married. So I guess that's where that comes from, is that she's married, but how?
But I don't know that this is what confuses me, that maybe she is legally married, but would she still be promoting that in a text, on a tweet? I don't know, because Jason is the worst. I cannot stand that man. But I mean, would she be mentioning him on a Twitter thing? I don't know, because it sounded kind of braggy to me. And I think, well, maybe she is married to this new guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really get why she would throw that out there either. Just unnecessary information. But a judge did confirm that she still is legally married to Jason, and there were some objections that she wouldn't finalize the divorce, and the judge said you can't blame blame one party for objecting this divorce. It still basically comes down to this order of protection that came out, and that's what's delayed things. But I thought she filed for divorce in like early 2010s.
It was a long time ago. Yeah.
I mean, I know there's a lot of assets involved and it's an ugly divorce. There's a child involved, but my God, how the hell long is this divorce? We're literally steps away from 2020.
I just think for her mental health and mental well-being, she needs to cut ties there. Like, it needs to be done. So I'm hoping that sooner rather than later, that divorce will be finalized. And also so she can just move on and, you know, potentially she can get married to this new guy, because I suppose you can't marry anybody while you're still married to somebody else unless you're a Mormon. I don't know how that all works.
Well, those who are familiar with Bethenny from Shark Tank, not everyone watches Housewives, but that's a Mark Burnett show. So she already has a relationship with him. That makes sense why she was plugged in on that panel as often as she was in and out. So interesting. You know, she's planted a lot of seeds. She's a recognizable brand, especially coming from Bravo, and, you know, with the women behind her that are fans of hers. She's definitely an influencer for these women. I definitely will say, I'll admit that I didn't love her when she returned to the Housewives. I just didn't like that version of Bethenny, and I found her, like, everything is still a crisis with her. But the bottom line is that woman pulled her weight on the show. She brought personal story. She brought business story. She kept it real. Like, you know, I will say she definitely earned her place on the show, and I've come really full circle back to enjoying Bethenny again. But I'm very honestly happy for her success. I mean, that's a really big deal, the MGM that she has. And this is going to go to streaming services. I mean, this is beyond Housewives, beyond Bravo, beyond NBC Universal. I mean, she's like a media mogul.
Yeah, she truly is. I mean, she's certainly taken the world by storm and taken the success of her, you know, Skinny Girl and the Housewives, and really just kind of exploded it into stratospheres that we would never, ever see coming. I mean, good on her. She's a smart businesswoman. I mean, there's a lot you can say about Bethenny that isn't so nice and isn't so pretty, but at the end of the day, she's a smart woman. Yeah. And you got to give her props for that.
Well, Ramona's a little disappointed, in case you're wondering, because Bethenny didn't tell any of her castmates. This was not the first time this happened. When Bethenny left the show in the first go around, she didn't tell anyone. They found out.
Is that true? I didn't hear that the first time round, but yes, this time I did hear that she didn't tell anyone, and that is. I mean, do you believe that? It's kind of shocking.
And I don't know. Reality TV said that the cast found out hours before shooting for season 12 began. I mean, the whole thing sounds kind of dramatic. I mean, these things, contracts, everything's negotiated way beforehand. Not only that, like, I always imagine, like, all these housewives coming together, because, you know, they don't really have managers. Some of them do, who shouldn't. But they don't all sit down, and, like, I feel like they all have to sit down and be like, okay, when's this, like, group trip coming up? Like, they have to kind of plot out the season with producers, so that way people are available to go, you know, overseas on a trip, and they're available to go to, you know, another dinner thrown by Kyle. You know what I mean? Like, my point is, I'm surprised that they're heading into production. Nobody knows, and then Bethenny announced it, and now they're going to start recording. It seems kind of soon to me. We'll see. I'm curious nonetheless. But who the hell knows? There's already supposed to be some new girl. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, Tinsley's friend.
Yeah, Leah McSweeney. She's like, they made really quick to say she's younger. She's 36. I know they're trying to bring down the median age of the cast, which is a mistake. Who cares? Let's not be ageist. I agree. Let's not be ageist. These women are established. They're in established relationships among each other. Let it play out. New York is doing fine. Please don't mess with the formula of New York. You know, let it be.
And just give us, you know, a year-long season. Just keep it going year-round. Look, I'll take 6 months.
Yeah, there's more they can do there. And, like, that's the thing, you know, where and I have experience with this myself, where there's success, people come into the picture and they want to take credit for it. And I don't mean with this show, I mean with other projects that I'm working on. And I just feel like New York is in such great creative shape that now it's like a perfect time for someone to screw it up. You know, like getting in a new producer or somebody making a change. And, you know, please don't screw this show up on us, because there are a lot of Bravo shows, in my opinion, that are in bad shape. I also want to shout out Bethenny before we move on for everything she's doing. She's planning like to send a fire truck airplane equivalent to the Amazon. She's one of the only people that's really doing something here. And, this is part of her charity work through Be Strong. And she could potentially be saving tribes and endangered species. I mean, this is really big work. So that's what I mean. She's doing big things. She's doing big things, and it's all good stuff. So I got to give her some credit.
Get it, girl. Yes. Go, Bethenny. Yeah, she's doing amazing stuff. I mean, people are barely even talking about the Amazon being on fire for 3 weeks straight. I mean, that's huge. So at least she's bringing some awareness to that and doing, saving, like you say, saving a lot of important animals, hopefully species, and of course just the land itself in that time.
Yeah, someone's doing something.
Someone's doing something.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next story here because this is interesting. There's been a string of celebrity home burglaries, and they've touched the likes of Usher, Adam Lambert, and PK and Dorit Kemsley of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Basically, a Beverly Hills real estate agent is accused of working with a fellow suspect to they attend open houses and steal items, allegedly, but this is what they're in for, and then they resell those items to pay off credit card bills.
I have to say, I kind of love this. I was reading the articles and I just think that's kind of genius. Just rocking up to an open house and, I don't know, grabbing a candelabra and shoving it in your bag. Pay for your own bills. I'm like, it's not look, obviously, I'm not going to be a criminal or anything, but it's not a terrible way to go about it if you're going to be a thief.
Well, I'm surprised it's not done more. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You always have to watch who you let in your house. You know what I mean? What are they doing? And not only that, but you got to lock your stuff up too. I mean, especially if it's fancy jewelry that's easy to slip into a pocket, you got to lock that stuff up. You can't be trusting people. I get it. I mean, of course, things happen. You can't lock everything up. You have to trust that the real estate agent is going to be, respectful. But, apparently not always the case. They
can't watch everyone at the same time walking around the house as well. So that's always difficult.
Right. I mean, they face 50 charges. So this says 32 counts of money laundering. It says 14 counts of burglary, conspiracy, and identity theft. So
that one's the one that kind of gets me. That always interests me when identity theft is in question, because I just think this day and age is kind of easier with online and stuff like that. But I mean, I just want more information on that because it sounds. I love that. I love a scam. I love a scam.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised this isn't a bigger story. I feel like if this was, again, I always reference 2007, but 2007, it would be the Hollywood burglar. And it would be, because it was done in Beverly Hills, West Hollywood, Brentwood, a lot of very high income areas where, in this case, at this time, this is where PK and Dorit lived or paid rent. Let's say that again. So, it's a very real thing. And I think it's kind of an interesting story. I'm surprised more people are talking about it. It's been, this whole legal battle has been going on for a year. There was another arrest made recently. Earlier in the year, Dorit, she tweeted, that it was, crazy and true. So glad this guy is finally off the streets. I can sleep better now. And, the two of them, they raked in over $500,000 in income for stealing people's belongings, in stealing.
Is this the same burglary that she was talking about on the show when all her purses were stolen, or was that another thing?
Maybe she was burglarized more than once by the same crooks.
They just hate PK and Dorit.
They've had enough of PK, the husband. Well, if convicted, they could face up to 31 years and 8 months in prison. So basically 32 years is the cost for that offense. Doesn't look good. I mean, the items didn't steal themselves.
People get less than that for murder. That is
God.
30 years. Yeah. Holy moly.
Right. Well, I wouldn't want to be them.
I would recommend checking out this Jason Yaselli. He has got a bone structure that you could, I was going to say, grate cheese off. Isn't that abs? He's not doing too bad, but I mean, obviously, you have to be on Love After Lockup, one of those shows where you're dating someone in prison in order to get his name and number.
Well, these suspects, they're in their early 30s, so tack on another 33 years, and, if you're interested, you're just going to wait. You just got to wait.
I will be writing letters.
You just got to hold off. Well, speaking of not holding off, because this one isn't, Taylor Swift, her old record label, and I'm not a big Taylor fan. Let me just say, the new music is out, whatever. I'm not a major fan. I don't find her to be an incredible performer. We grew up with Britney. That is just the top, highest standard, biggest damn music for me ever. I'm not impressed by her performance. However, I like the girl as far as how she views business. She can write. She does have talent, whether you like it or not. She does have talent, but she's more of a singer-songwriter than a performer, in my point of view. And I think
I completely agree.
She's given a lot of attention, for I don't know. She's
done some good. I love what she did with. She had that sexual assault case, and she brought attention to that. She wasn't doing any of that for money. She just wanted to basically call the guy out and be like, "This is not okay." And I am proud of what she's doing. I am all for her. I'm with you. She's not my favorite musician. I think of her as the Labrador of people, where she's she's blonde. It means I love dog analogies. Now that you're a dog daddy, you will start seeing the world through everyone's just a different species of dog. Okay. I look at her okay, she's blonde, she's cute, she's bubbly and happy, but there's not a lot going on. She's a little bit light, a little bit fluffy for me, and the music is, it's okay, it's fun. But there's nothing really deep, nagging at my soul when I listen to it. I'm not, falling into a heap like Lana Del Rey style. You know what I mean?
Okay, I get it. I get the Labrador of performers. I get it. All right.
It's nice. It's fun, there. But it's not making you think too hard. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
I feel like your listeners are going to hate me.
No, I think it's safe. I think she's safe. So her old record label was sold to Scott Braun, who's this talent rep, and he's behind Justin Bieber and Kanye, and she doesn't care for him. I'm tired of hearing about this guy. He acquired all of her masters, and I assume that means her master tracks, the final cut of them. So what you hear on the radio is a master cut, so that would be the finished product. Well,
the super glossy version,
right? So she's really unhappy about it. She called him a bully, blah, blah, blah. So her old label's CEO said that Taylor had the option to buy her own work. She told CBS Sunday Morning that, hey, that was nothing, that I had no indication of this. That's not true for me. She didn't say whether she would have bought it or not, but I assume she would have. So it's, so at least I will say this girl, she stands for something. This business is tough. And, you think you record a song and you own it, and you really don't.
Yeah. As you mentioned at the start of the show, I'm a singer-songwriter, and look, nobody listens to my music. Nobody cares. I'm not a Taylor Swift. But I have had that happen before, where I've worked with certain producers, and I've written the lyrics, written the music, recorded it, spend not just energy actually physically recording and editing and mastering the tracks and money, because it costs a lot to do a professional recording, but also, these my songs, I bleed my heart and soul into them, and then you turn around and somebody else owns it. It's not okay. So I'm always very thorough with the research that I do now, and, reading contracts properly and making sure that they fit what my needs are, because I want to own my own words. That's really important. So I'm glad that she's fighting for this, because she's talking about her first 5 albums, and she was really, really young, and she was a talent, and I'm sure she just got swept up in that whole world. And probably don't read contracts properly or think about what that means if somebody else owns your music when you're 16,
right?
As much as you do when you're 29. So I mean, I think
it's kind of the industry norm,
Yeah.
For the most part, unless if you're someone like.
Yeah.
Diddy, who owns his own label, and then it's just all his own work. But I mean, it's kind of the norm, especially like now she's with Universal Music Group, so she's made a big jump up. So like, you're right. When you get started, you sign with whoever will take you.
Yeah.
She made a lot of money for them, but it's bigger than Taylor Swift, and there's money involved, and that's just the business. Unfortunately, the business is ugly. So now she wants to re-record all of her own work. But will this make the originals that Scooter owns more valuable? Because now those are the true originals, and now she's re-recording like Shake It Off. Like, does anybody care?
And I also read that apparently in order to be able to do this, which she may not be allowed to do, which is insane, you can't record your own music. I mean, what is going on? But that she would have to change the lyrics, which that's pretty bonkers. Nobody wants to listen to, Shake It Off, like you say, with what's an alternative to that? Like, shake my junk
really
instead. Like, it's not going to work. So I'm interested to see how this story pans out, but I fear that there's too much money and power involved for her to really make a mark, unfortunately.
And like there's all her old music videos and other things from, like, I'm sure her library, if she ever wanted to put a DVD together, like all those tracks, the originals, like, I don't know how you escape that and start new. Like, it just seems like a mess. I'm proud of her for like trying to like take on the business, but I don't know. I mean, in 2014, she did go up against Spotify. She wanted more money per stream because at the time it was less than 1 penny. So she has gone against kind of the big media and, the way things have been done forever in the past. So I like someone that stands for something. I just don't know if it's worth re-recording all those tracks.
Yeah, I'm not sure that that's the right angle to take, but I guess it's possibly the only angle she's got at the moment. It's a really, really tricky one. And even to be asked to buy your own music back, like, that's rough, man. That's rough in itself.
Scooter, whoever this, a grown man named Scooter, first of all, is where do we begin? But
don't be trusted.
Yeah, this ass, he should give her them at a discounted rate. Of course, it's a business. He paid $300 million to own this. I'm sure her discography is a huge part of the success of, I believe it was like Big Machine Records or whatever.
Right.
But he should pay her, or she should pay him at a discounted rate. They should reach some type of a deal because it'll save his skin in the press and it'll make him look like a good guy, and then she'll get what she wants and they can just wash their hands of all the business, and what's hers is hers, and that's the end. But, they should probably sit down and talk this out. That's what I think. I don't know if it would work, but try it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, worth a try. And hey, they should have you in the room to moderate because I'm sold on that plan. It works for me.
Prince did the similar thing. Prince tried to get his own music. That was another whole mess. He re-recorded things that the originals were worth more than the re-records.
Right.
So, it is what it is. I don't envy her.
Truly, the only way to progress as an artist these days and own all your own stuff is like you said, own your own recording company. You record with somebody, you buy it, pay for everything that you make from scratch, and write Kirsty Moore records or like whatever.
Right.
It has to be your thing, but it does cost a lot of money to get it up from nothing, and that's why people sign up with these big businesses, because they have $300 million to spend on you. I mean, I don't have that much. I don't know about you. It's
a real thing to look out for. I mean, even with Rants, this podcast, I had an opportunity to bring this to another network, and I asked them, do you own this show once you receive the feed? And they were really, really tiptoeing around that answer. And I said, no, I mean, like, I'm very point blank, especially with business. I mean, anyone would want to know the truth. I said, no, really though. If the show's carried with you, who owns it? And then it came out that they would own it. But they said, well, without you, it's valueless. we just own the show, but we don't own you, so it's valueless. So there's really nothing to own. But I'm like, I know that, but I am not comfortable handing over my catalog of work. This is actually, I will say, this is Grant's Rant's 4th birthday episode. It's officially 4.
Congratulations. Happy 4th.
Thank you. And the show continues. And, I'm just saying, all that work and for somebody else to own it, and God willing, something, will happen, and this will get more traction, and we'll do something bigger. I don't owe anybody anything, and I own the show.
Exactly.
And that's it, so that's how I view it anyway.
What a nice way to celebrate your birthday. What a victory. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm very proud of the show. There's more I want to do with it. I want to do something big for the 150th episode. Again, you never know who or what is going to happen on this show. So let's take a brief break, and then we come back. I want to get Kirsty's thoughts on this Disney Plus app. There's a lot is going on this weekend at the D23 Expo, and then we're going to talk more with Kirsty. That and more in a moment. Hang on. Now this.
You're listening to Grant's Rants. Subscribe and spread the word. There are a lot more rants to come. Listen anytime on all major podcasting platforms. And now, back to the show.
And we are back on the Rants, and I'm talking via Skype with Kirsty Moore, calling in from Australia. Is it winter over there? What's going on? I'm curious.
It's winter, yeah. We're pretty much exactly opposite to you guys. But right now it's a nice sunny, cold, but sunny day at the moment. So we've got a nice week. Last week was just basically thunderstorms and rain the entire time. But it looks like it's starting to turn a bit more into spring, hopefully.
Yeah, just as we are just about to turn into fall here. It's interesting, especially at the concept. I could never wrap my mind around it that the months of June, July, and August are winter. That's just very odd and strange to me. Isn't it how we're programmed? But yeah, interesting.
Well, it's strange for me when I go to, because my grandparents are lived in Canada, and I'd go over there and it's a white Christmas, and we suddenly see all of the things that we see on American Christmas movies. Children playing in the snow, making snow angels, building. I was going to say a sandcastle. What are the people called? Snowmen. Yeah, that was a hard one to come by.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
People here do Christmas in July, because then at least we get to experience that cold Christmas. We don't have snow, but at least we can rug up in jumpers and pretend that we're American, I guess.
Oh my God, that's so funny. That's so interesting.
It's so weird. We just want to be you.
Let's talk about this D23, because I've never actually been to this. I think this would be actually an interesting thing to visit. It's a big expo. I've actually talked about it on this show quite a bit in the past, and I had on Marie Garofalo, who worked for Disney in the past. Early episodes, I think season 1 of this podcast 4 years ago, she gave us a look at what was going on at D23. But this year, the biggest thing seems to be this Disney Plus, a new streaming service like a Hulu, but strictly for Disney. It's set to launch, if anyone's interested, on November 12th. It's going to be $6.99 a month. Now, they have 500 feature films, which I thought was a lot, until I found out there's 7,500 show episodes on this app. I mean, that's a lot. So you're looking at 8,000 productions. What? That
is insane. And I saw those numbers and I thought, well, comparatively, I don't know how many movies and shows Netflix has, but this sounds absolutely incredible. I was more blown away, to be honest, with the series, the 7,000 episodes.
Yeah.
Because I thought Disney were more of a movie kind of realm than TV shows. What kind? That's why I was confused by that. Are they new shows, old shows?
That's the thing. Disney owns almost everything. It's almost a monopoly. It's ridiculous when I really drill down, even cable networks like A&E, we talk about Scientology, that's under the umbrella of the Disney company.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you know, they're talking also now because of ABC and Fox being both owned by the Walt Disney Company. A big chunk of these episodes is going to be the Simpsons library. I mean, that show's been on since 89, 88, I think. So that's tons and tons of episodes right there to take on. There's going to be this one show. This caught my attention. It's One Day at Disney, and I would love to produce this, especially as a podcast. It's a docuseries profiling animators, Imagineers, or Marvel filmmakers in their day-to-day jobs. Like, that is so up my alley because it's just like insider and informative and smart. I would love to actually watch the show, and I would more love to produce it.
Yeah, that sounds brilliant. That's really kind of my scene as well. Kind of like the behind the music of TV, which is everything that I'm all about. I think it sounds
like
fascinating.
Even like they're opening up like different lands, like just like all that goes into it. I mean, I watched a lot of the stuff growing up, like the Imagineers, and my sister who's listening will probably laugh. We used to get these ridiculous vacation VHS tapes in the mail, and we would order them, and then we would watch them. And it would be like, I mean, they're all on YouTube. They point to every year there was a new one, and it was like, you know, all these families of all different minorities and backgrounds standing in front of the Magic Kingdom talking about how wonderful everything is. And they would just profile the parks and the hotels and all that, but it was all so Disney-ified. So I imagine this series, One Day at Disney, will be the same thing. It'll be behind the magic and all that. But, like, you know, I don't get me wrong. I'd like to see an Imagineer putting a couple bleeps in going, you know, this goddamn slide is a pain in the ass. Been working on this for 9 effing months. I'd love to hear, like, the reality of what it really is like to be an Imagineer. It's not all rainbows, people. You know?
No, it's not all sunshine and roses. People get stressed and they have meltdowns that just like everyone else.
I need to see a Housewives style meltdown, like in like you know, like Animal Kingdom with like, you know, some like child that's tough to be a bug ride or something. That's what I need to see. That's good TV.
The one I'm excited about is the Lizzie McGuire is coming back.
Yeah, and as her current age of 30, which is my age, so that's probably the most relatable series to me because I watched it growing up. Yeah, I'm going to watch if I get this. I don't know. Am I getting this? I don't know.
Yes, I think we all have to get it. I'm so excited for it. And especially because at the moment, and this is why I love your other podcast, The Good Place, the podcast, because it's so joyful. There's so much going on in the world that is kind of a downer, and I am just searching for things that bring me lightness and joy and laughter and, you know, like not to completely distract and disregard the important things that are going on in the world, but also sometimes you just need to wind down and relax. And these kinds of joyful Disney programs, silly things like The Simpsons, you know, Lizzie McGuire, that kind of stuff makes me feel lighthearted and joyful in these dark
to the
times.
world. Yeah, it's adding some good to the world. So I want to talk with you now about what's going on with your work, your life. You know, you mentioned to me that you're currently turning your blog into a book. But, you know, I want to preface, like, this blog is not just like, you know, some diary entries and some notes. I mean, this is a highly personal, very vulnerable blog that you have. It's called Gutter Glitter, correct?
Gutter Glitter. Yeah, that's it. Gutterglitter.blog. Look, yeah, it is. I write about, I'm 30, but I've had a bit of a rough ride this life.
You've lived a full life, just from what you talk about.
I feel like I've lived about 14 lives. Like, I'm exhausted. Like, we need a break.
Well, yeah, I mean, what are some of the topics? Because I have them listed here, but I want you to tell people.
Sure, yeah. I write a lot about mental illness and addiction. I've had an experience when I was younger with cancer, spinal cancer. So I write a lot about what that was like going through chemo and spinal surgery recovery. I write a lot about grief and love and heartbreak, all the fun stuff, all the grit of life.
You're a real, like, three-dimensional person. I mean, you know, this stuff is very vulnerable to put out there. I mean, also, you know, I read the entries about the anorexia and a body image that you put out there. I mean, very real stuff. I think people can find it very relatable.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm aiming for is I sort of, it sounds so strange to say, but I'll write about suicidal ideation and try and insert a little bit of humor to make it more accessible to the lay person, or maybe somebody who has never felt that way or suffered mental illness, so that if they have someone in their life going through something like anorexia or depression or whatever it may be, that they can, you know, be less scared of that person and less scared of reaching out and less scared of just, I don't know, you don't need to fix anyone. Mostly people just want someone to be around, you know, show their support. You don't have to change the world. Just sit by someone when they're suffering, I guess. Right.
It seems to me like there's a theme of like, you know, what to say, kind of what not to say, just, you know, how not to react.
Yeah. I mean, look, the anorexia stuff, look, that's more of my high school experience. But even now, like, I mean, it took me 10 years to become very secure and positive about my body image. So I do have a very strong sense of self now. But it was more like if you've been broken down so much by small comments, it doesn't have to be a big comment. You don't have to be, you know, be bullied to the point where you're being shoved in lockers or, you know, things we see on TV. It's just the incessantness of little comments about somebody's appearance every single day can really change the way they see themselves. I never thought I was unattractive or fat or anything like that until I had these comments made every day. And then eventually I got to, I don't know, early teens, looked in the mirror and I was like, oh no, you're a disgusting piece of sorry for swearing. Because it's just like they'd been broken down, I suppose, you know. So then you have to rebuild yourself from the ground up rather than developing a strong sense of self-worth from just being born, I guess, and having, you know, we all deserve to be here. We all deserve to own space, have that space in our lives, take up room. And that's kind of what was, I guess, taken from me and can be taken from people that are bullied or have a poor sense of self-esteem. So
I would really honestly like if this resonates with anybody, just to give it a read. Like I have to say, like I was really impressed. Again, the name of the blog is Gutter Glitter and .blog, correct?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So check that out if you want. But there's also like other stuff that you're up to and that you've completed. It seems like you had you were an independent artist, right?
Yeah, so I've recorded 2 EPs. The last couple of years I have been sort of more focusing on emotional healing and doing that through my blog writing, which I'm now turning into a book or attempting to. But so I've been on a pause from writing new music, doing a lot of poetry writing. But yeah, I've done 2 EPs. First one, I think 2014 and then maybe 2016. And the first one actually is an exploration of me processing a lot of that time I spent through my anorexia journey, for lack of a better word. And the second one is a lot of heartbreak. And I just use my music and my writing for the same reason, basically, just to process that which life throws my way. Mm-hmm. The first album is more kind of, I guess, not acoustic, but a little bit more Swifty in her early days, I suppose. Like that kind of like little bit gypsy, hippie, kind of low-key style country gal.
I was going to say, I watched the videos on your website.
Oh, yes.
And I have to say, like, I was very honestly impressed, not only with your voice, but the production value of the music videos. I mean, you really did that. Like, you made real, legit videos.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it was fun. That was the second EP, I think, that you're referring to. The early videos, look, it's my brother and a couple of friends with a video camera and doing my own makeup and all that stuff. But the second EP, yeah, we went pretty hard, and that's one thing I love. I love doing the videos. I love once you get to that final kind of product and you can really just explore in a visual way what anything that you couldn't say in the song itself.
Yeah.
So I think it takes it to another level. I don't think about the video and the music as separate. It's just more opportunity to tell the story I'm trying to tell, I guess.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, very powerful work. And for those who want to see it, can I direct them to your site, kirstenmoore.au?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
kirstenmoore.com.au. That's it.
.com. Okay, great. Well, yeah, I mean, I have to say I enjoyed Incomplete. And
Thank you.
You're very talented. I'm so glad that you can find therapy through writing. I think that's an important thing. And it sounds like that's kind of what has been really helping you grow and accept life.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of gave me a purpose as well, because there was a lot of time spent where, especially when you're grieving, where you just feel like you don't want to get out of bed, you don't want to do anything. And I did that for a long time. But, eventually I was like, okay, it's time to start processing. Look, I do all the other stuff, therapy and all the exercise and, try and watch happy things and stay positive. But sometimes you just need to wallow. And that's when I like to write.
That's great.
Get it out.
That's
great.
It's
wonderful. And as you can tell, the way I'm speaking, I'm doing great. So it's worked for me. I'm not saying it's everybody's medicine, but it's definitely been healing for me.
No, I mean, you're a very fun person. You've got great energy.
Well,
I mean, I'm very happy for you. I'm glad that you came out on the other side of all of the darkness. So good for you.
Thanks. This is what I want for Bethenny Frankel.
Yes.
I watch her and I'm like, oh, I feel you, girl. Like, it's rough. That's why I'm actually so glad she's left, because now she can just live her life.
Yeah, next chapter, next thing to do. Yep, I get it. Hey, this was great. Thank you for coming on the Rants. Finally, we've talked about it. I've had the pleasure of being on your show, Reality TV, and me twice now. So it's high time we had you on the Rants. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been so much fun.
Yeah, and check out her show, guys. I mean, she talks a lot about the same things that we do here, just at a larger scale. I mean, she's watching the Bravo, So,
yes.
I do. You're looking for another
all the
show.
Housewives. Yep. I cover all the Housewives and Reality TV and me on Instagram, and that's the name of the podcast. So in anywhere that you find your podcast or listen up, it's going to be there. I will be waiting for you, Kirsty Moore, whatever my name is. And you can have me in your ears. And the blog is guttaglitter.blog. And for my videos, kirstenmoore.com.au or just on YouTube. There you go. There's my little spiel for you.
Thank you. And before you go, I got to ask, has Lindsay Lohan aired yet on The Masked Singer there?
No, I don't think it's come out yet. There's been some strange tweets going back and forth between her and some of the Aussie judges. So I'm interested to see what the relationship will be. I think dubious.
Okay. Well, you'll have to let us know, because I'm watching from afar.
Okay, great.
All right. Thanks again for coming on the Rants, and we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
All right. More Rants to come. I love you so much for listening. And I want to really say a quick thank you to Karen Schultz for being a patron over on Patreon. She's getting some bonus content, extended conversations, and you can too if you would like to subscribe to Grant's Rants Hollywood Talk on Patreon. My thanks to Kirsty, and as always, we'll be back with more Rants.
This has been Grant's Rants. Support the Rants on Patreon at patreon.com/Grant's Rants. Follow Grant on Twitter and Instagram at It's Grant's Rants. Cover art created by RHONY. Voiceover by Original theme music by Alexander Arntzen. The Grant Michael Collection.